Well, sweet guys. Well, it's great to see you all. Happy Sunday. I know some people have tomorrow off. So if you do and you're somebody who has tomorrow off, enjoy your day off. Hopefully you got squared away for the week. I know with the challenge, we're doing our meal prep calls at 4:15 Pacific, 7:15 Eastern Standard. And one of the cool things I know a lot of you are participating in the challenge is if you set aside time to go to that call, you're also setting aside time to meal prep. I mean, really, that's the point. It's not just like a thinking about meal prep call, it's a get organized for the week call. And if you're not setting aside time to do it, and you're not doing it consistently, then the problem isn't the doing it. The problem is the setting aside time. And so I just wanted to share that as a reminder because sometimes we get on ourselves and we're like, why can't I just get on top of this? And sometimes it's as simple as just blocking out a little bit of time on our calendars. And I kind of wanted to use that as a kickoff for the week because this is one of as targets go, this one in particular is one of the most important ones that I think we can all use, which is how we create some of the consistency that we've been talking about. So at the end of the day, like the past few weeks, we've talked a lot about owning our journey, creating consistency, understanding, what this is all about. And I wanted to get a little bit practical this week. Let's get strategic. Like, how is this done? And I want to return to one of the most basic things that we talk about in Fitme. Many of you who joined last year did our foundations program. And this is one of the things that you learn. But I feel like it's something we have to return to over and over again. And so the first thing I'll say is that most of us can think of examples, other places in our life where we feel successful, where we feel like we are able to show up consistently, we're able to follow through, we are able to do our best work and contribute and feel like we are finding success. There are places in your life where that is probably true for most of us, or a place in our life in the past where we've known that to be true. Hey, in that season, that described what I was doing. The strategies that work for us in those other places in our life, whether that's work, whether that's family stuff, whether that is just organization around finances, whatever it is that you feel like, man, I've really got my ducks in a row. You have strategies, actual practical things that you do to create those successes. It's funny though, because with fitness and nutrition and self-talk, we tend to go the other way. We tend to immediately call it a character trait. Like, I don't have discipline, or I don't have motivation, or I'm not athletic, or I don't have a fast metabolism. We like to label ourselves inside the fitness and nutrition space. Meanwhile, we have a much more growth oriented mindset in other categories of our life. And one of the reasons we have a growth oriented mindset, which means that we know we're not fixed, we're not stuck in these labels. We think, oh, well, I could learn the next thing and get a promotion, or I could take these, next steps and do X, Y, and Z for our finances. We have a growth oriented mindset because we are using strategies in order to create those results. It's not just winging it or hoping that it's all going to magically come together. And one of the key strategies that we use in other areas of our life is to schedule in our calendar what is important to us as a priority. And so this is what we're going to talk about tonight, putting things in your calendar. And again, if you did foundations a year or more ago, or if you even did the original Fit Me Basics program, this was one of the things we talked about, especially regarding exercise, but it can also be in regards to movement, and it can also be in regards to meal prep. If you are thinking to yourself, I need to be doing strength work, maybe Coach Tabby has written you some strength work, and you're like, I need to do my strength work 3 times a week, and it's not happening, and you have not put it in your calendar. Motivation is not your problem. Discipline is not your problem. Athleticism is not your problem. All of those things, commitment, everything you could think of in that label category, not the problem. The problem is that everything else in your life that matters is in your calendar. And those workouts are not there. They're not in your calendar. They're not prioritized. And so not only do you put them in your calendar, but you protect them in your calendar. If you go to a doctor's appointment and you're getting your teeth cleaned, or a dentist appointment, you're going to get your teeth cleaned, and you know that you need to go to the dentist. It's a priority to you. You want to get your teeth cleaned. You know, insurance covers it one time a year. So you like go ahead and you put it in your calendar and you're like, Wednesday at 3:00, I'm going to the dentist. And then when other stuff comes up, you're like, I can't do that. Actually, at 2:30, I got to leave because I got to go to the dentist at 3:00. Oh, I can't do that because I'm not going to be done the dentist until 4:00. So then I could meet up with you at 5:30, but I can't do it before then because I actually have the dentist from 3 to 4. You know what's going to happen? You're going to go to the dentist because it's in your calendar and because you prioritize it. You protected that block in your calendar. And so why wouldn't you do that with your workouts? If you say you want to do them, you say they're a priority, you know you want to follow through on them, why wouldn't they have a block on your calendar that you've thought through? Yep, this is exactly when I'm going to do this. Oh, can you stay late at work? No, I can't. I have to leave at 5:30 because I've got to be to the gym at 6 so that I can do X, Y, and Z. Or I can't because I need to leave here at 5:30 is really all you need to say. And if you do that, you will do your workouts. So then you work yourself one way back and you're like, okay, well, I could put it in my calendar, but my calendar is kind of full. Well, now you know what else you need to solve for. Part of the reason that they aren't happening isn't just because they aren't in your calendar, but because your calendar is packed. So now comes a decision. Well, what am I going to do? What am I going to take out in order to put in this thing that matters to me? Okay, I want to commit to 4 walks this week. I want to walk and make sure I walk in at least 45 minutes and get a walk in 4 times this week. Well, you got to look at your life and figure out where the heck is that going to fit in and then block it. If you're just hoping to squeeze it in, that's going to create a reactionary setting in which you're just hoping the universe aligns and gives you permission to do the thing that you're telling me is a priority. That's never going to happen. There's always going to be a reason why you can't do it. There's always going to be somebody who needs your attention. There's always going to be something that you should be doing, some other thing in your house that needs it, you need to clean up. So putting this in your calendar is the key. Putting it in your calendar until it is so routine that you no longer need it in your calendar anymore. There's probably things in your life that are like that, where like, I don't even need to put it in there because I'm automatically doing it. I have to readdress my calendar pretty much every quarter. So I play this game every quarter where I actually look at my calendar and I block out when am I going to do my exercise? When am I going to do my movement? Because my life changes a little bit. And so I want to make sure that I'm still thinking about it in terms of my real life. Now, maybe your workout ducks are in a row, but not your meal prep ducks. This applies the same to that. So meal prep might mean that you block out an hour on Sunday to work on your week. Get your groceries ordered, get yourself squared away, get it organized. Prioritize that time. Oh, you have an hour blocked out on Sunday and you thought about when it should be. So it's at like 9 a.m. and somebody's like, hey, can you do X, Y, and Z? Nope, because I've got to do this. It seems so silly, but on the other hand, if you're not doing it, then it's not silly at all. This is exactly how you do it. And this is one of those simple strategies, but it's really important to return to. And that's why I wanted it to be the subject of today's call. If you are not consistently doing strength training or your regular movement or meal prep and planning, it's time to start putting it in your calendar. I'm telling you that this is a strategy that works in other parts of your life, and it's going to work on this too. And if you're like, I have no idea how it's going to fit in, then that is the problem to solve. That's what you got to work through and figure out how is it going to fit in. because then if you really can't figure it out, well, then now with your coach, you can start to figure out, hey, do you have too many obligations? What needs to go? Which one's the more important to your big picture goals? Which one's more important to your fulfillment, your overall happiness, what you need? And then you can start to edit. So it's not pass fail. It is the work, like we talked about last week when we were talking about obstacles, that navigating the obstacle is potentially the thing that leads you to the successful strategy that works in your real life. Avoiding the obstacle isn't helping you. And so let's be very specific. On a daily basis in Fitme, we want you to get at least 30 minutes of intentional movement in every single day. So that is a walk, that is some sort of class, that's yoga, that's CrossFit class, that's boot camp, that's swimming, whatever, a minimum of 30 minutes of intentional movement. And as a woman, and as someone who needs to build and maintain your muscle mass, we encourage most everyone to do a minimum of 3 strength trainings a week. Even if those are Tory exercises, even if it's body weight, it doesn't have to be some crazy, barbell situation in the gym. It can be body weight, but 3 a week. That's what we want to get you guys to. Everybody should be there, like moving at least 30 minutes every day intentionally and doing at least 3 strengths a week in some way. Even if it's body weight, it's totally fine. And so if we're not there yet, let's take a look at our calendar and let's start building it in. If you're like, I can't get 3 in yet, but I could get in 1, let's start with 1. Let's build that in, start to make it consistent. And then, like I said, meal prep, if it's not happening, it also belongs in your calendar. If consistent grocery shopping isn't happening, it belongs in your calendar. If check-ins with your coach aren't happening, it belongs in your calendar. Whatever the things that you feel like I'm not being consistent with, ... it belongs in your calendar. Whatever you use, whether that's an individual planner, your app on your phone, Google Calendar, whatever it is, a chalkboard, however you organize your life, however you make sure that you don't miss appointments. That's where I want this stuff to go. So let's talk about it. What thoughts and questions do you guys have? Who does this on the regular? Who doesn't do it? Who feels like they have a strategy that works well for them around planning and calendar? I want to hear from you guys.
I do it on the regular. Movement.
Who is that? Marlena?
Marlena. Yeah.
What is that?
I didn't ever do any of those like time blocks, and I do it now, and I'm like really successful at getting stuff done when it's in my calendar.
Mm-hmm. Do you, Lisa and Marlena, do you guys use a paper calendar? Do you use Google Calendar? Like, what do you personally use?
I use Google Calendar.
I survived with.
So Marlena, you use Google Calendar. What do you use, Lisa?
I use my phone for everything. If I lose my phone, I lose my life.
Mm-hmm. So is it like do you have an Apple phone?
Yes. It links to my iPad as well. If I want to look at it on a broader scale, I can open it up that way and really see how it's broken down.
Yeah.
Christy, I was going to say I use my Outlook calendar. It's my work calendar because so much of the 5 days a week is driven off of crazy meetings. And so I, often will have to look ahead at the week and go, okay, well, this is my one window to get like an hour walk in or 30-minute walk in. And I'll literally just block it and, write walk. But I used to be really bad at that. I mean, I'm sure I literally walked with a girlfriend today and, she was like, oh yeah, but I can't do that. But and I can't leave at 4, so even if I get there early. And I was like, well, I brought up your story of Dave. Dave takes a lunch. Dave goes, at whatever time, everyone know Dave goes to lunch. And gosh, Dave also leaves his job at 4 o'clock, even when he gets in at, like 7 or whatever. And I told her, I said, I used to do the same thing. I used to say, I can't. And I said, and really, when it came down to it, I just hadn't had those uncomfortable conversations with my boss.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I actually needed to find out, hey, is it okay if I leave at 4 on Tuesdays and Thursdays? I don't need to explain why. It's none of their business. I find women have a tendency to overshare, to have to tell all the reasons why, and it's really important to me because I'm trying to do this thing and blah, blah, blah. It's really none of their business. It's just that you have a personal commitment and you need to be gone at 4. And it could be, you're volunteering for a local thing or you're doing something. It doesn't really matter what it is, even if it's for you personally. But, I find sometimes just having that conversation is like, yeah, I mean, that's fine as long as you're getting your 8 hours in. So it's really a lot. For me, it was a lot about just setting those boundaries. And then, when it came 4 o'clock, I have to leave. It's not up to anyone else to sit around and keep working because I feel like people might be watching me. No, it's time to go. So
they're probably jealous of you that you are doing what you need to do to take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
There's that
it was hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's an uncomfortable conversation, especially if you're establishing new expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And so you might feel like it's uncomfortable. You know how they say that I kind of think this one's stupid, but it's like you choose your hard. Like there's all sorts of kinds of hard, and sometimes we get to choose our hard. Which one do we want to deal with? I also think we choose our can't. I think that might be a more powerful way to think about that phrase. We choose the thing that we say, I can't. So I can't leave at 4, or I can't have a conversation with my boss. Or I can't take care of myself and actually move my body and walk because I am unwilling to, have a conversation. So we get to choose our can't. Which one do we want? And if we're thinking about well, I can't be healthy or I can't have a conversation, it calibrates it.
Mm-hmm. And I think the biggest thing is, we often will teach our kids to advocate for themselves and to ask. If you don't ask, the answer is no, regardless. But if you ask, then there's a possibility they might be like, oh, yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah.
Just let me know, or something. So I don't know. It's hard, especially when you've built a habit around not doing it for so many years.
Yeah. I also think you said something important about you scheduled your walk in your work calendar. So it wasn't your hypothetical calendar. It was actually the calendar that you follow. And I think some of us have multiple calendars. We're oh, I have my one that drives my day. And then I have my dreams calendar. I'm not talking about putting this in your dreams calendar. I'm talking about your work calendar.
Mm-hmm.
The one that someone would look at and be like, is Paige available at 2 o'clock? No, she's
Mm-hmm.
not. That
Yep.
one.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to. And, just because I have something blocked doesn't mean people won't schedule something. And then when I get somebody who schedules something, then I have to decide and prioritize. Is that more important than me getting my walk?
Yeah.
Choice
and you
2
can make
might
that
be,
decision.
can I go on my walk and still take this call or meeting? Or option 3 is I decline this and say I'm not available at this time, but here's a different time that might work.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of, you really have to get good at setting boundaries.
Mm-hmm. In calendars, sometimes it's setting boundaries with yourself. So if you aren't dealing with a boss, if you're just dealing with your own running aroundness, maybe you've got families your family has high needs and you have to juggle all of those things. Maybe you just have social things that you like to do. Maybe it's, house stuff or projects, or you're committed at your church or whatever. You just might be driving your own crazy train and setting. Tara raised her hand to drive her own crazy train. I think in those cases, again, Do you need to schedule your whole life? Maybe not, but you better be scheduling what's important to you. Your priorities need to be scheduled. And so I get pushback on this one a lot because some people are like, I'm not a scheduling person. And then I just simply ask, is it working for you? Listen, if you are doing your workouts consistently 3 to 4 times a week, I don't really give a crap if you put it in your calendar. I don't. You're doing it. If you write it on your hand or stamp it to your forehead, I don't care how you get there. You get it done, great. Like if you're getting your walks in and your movement because you know, whatever, like you put little cues around your house, post-its, and it reminds you and you're like, this works for me. Fine, perfect. That works for you. I'm specifically referring to the situation in our lives where we are not being consistent and we are feeling like we're reactionary, where we can't fit it in and we are not scheduling it. Because then we are saying it's not working for us. What we're doing right now is not creating the consistency that we want. And again, I was very specific. What is the consistency that we want? We want to move our body at least 30 minutes every day, minimum. And we want 3 to 4 workouts a week of some kind of sweat or strength. We need to move our bodies and challenge ourselves. It could be body weight. It could be Tory stuff. It could be whatever. But are we doing those things? And if not, again, like let's just move in that direction and start with looking at your calendar. What else, guys?
Sometimes I will schedule time in my calendar to give myself time to think about how I want to structure my days that week. I will give people maybe I can do that with you. I will let you know by this day, and I will actually schedule that in my calendar because I have priorities for other things. So it's like I set space aside to think about it.
I like that. I think that one, that makes me think of 2 things, Lisa. One is like you are like operating like you're the CEO of your life. I think I said this on Coffee Talk the other day. If you were the CEO of some giant company and some random person just rolled up at 10 o'clock and was like, can I see the CEO? The secretary would be like, no, they're booked for today. However, we can get you in next week. So when are you available? Or nope, that's not a thing for the CEO. Like you're going to go take that to so-and-so. But there's no universe unless the CEO would just like, stop everything for random miscellaneous interruptions all day, or they wouldn't be very effective. But guaranteed there is some sort of mission control planning meeting, right? Like that is what you're talking about, Lisa, where like maybe once a week or maybe once a month, that person who is showing up consistently and, succeeding inside of their calendar has to look at their calendar and think about what should be on here. And like, what priorities need to happen this week? What else should happen on here? And maybe they're sitting there and they're planning that out. And then they're thinking to themselves, well, so-and-so requested this, this, and this. Does it fit? And that's what you're talking about, Lisa. Like, it's like, I can't answer that for you yet. I will look at my calendar on Sunday when I sit down for my organize my week time. And then I can let you know. And you're just giving yourself space to do that. It's kind of like your own mission control. So I work with one of the people that I coach personally. She actually has like a mission control center in her pantry. Like we joke about it. It has her Fitme plate picture. It has her challenge tracker there. It has her kids schedule and it has her workout schedule. And it's on the inside door of her pantry. And so she treats it like mission control. And each week she updates that calendar. With the kids stuff, she updates her tracker. She updates, what she's got going on. It works really well for her.
I'm somebody who I have to write it down. I can't put it in my phone because it's too many steps. Mm-hmm. I need to have a pen and paper. I need to physically write the words down. And I actually have like multiple places. So I have my paper scheduler or calendar it's in my purse with me at all times. And then I have like another chalkboard one that's in the living or in the kitchen. So anybody in the family can look and see what time is soccer practice, what's for dinner, like basically like brings it down to the week so they can look and see. And then I have these little notebooks everywhere that I just jot down some things that I need to do and that I can cross out. So if I don't write it down, it gets lost. It gets lost in my brain.
And does that work well for you? Like that system?
Yeah. Because if I'm like, I'll remember it, I'm not. And Mom, when I get yes, if it has to be, or she wants to say hi. Yeah, it has to be like physically written down. Mm-hmm. I can't text myself. I will set alarms for things. Like I have an alarm for the Fitme family meeting because that's too. But everything else has to be physically written.
That's good. I'm glad you shared that, Sarah, because some people are much more like a tactile and they need to write things out for it to be real and for them to remember. And in electronics just don't work as well. But I also like that you pointed out that electronics have alarms. And so alarms can be really helpful if you're trying to, interrupt something that you tend to get lost in and make sure that you leave on time, or that you are able to do the thing and not forget.
I think a few months ago, Brittany shared with us these fridge magnets and I just want you to know that they have like changed my world. So I've got like the calendar where everything gets put on it and it changes. I've got my grocery list, my tracker, and then I've got this like random thing that I use for all kinds of just like brain dumps. And thank you.
I'm so glad you got them.
It's amazing. I love it so much because I thought I was a paper and pencil girl, but I'm just a whiteboard girl.
Brittany, maybe you could share those links again because that would be awesome. Those look great.
I was just gonna say, I'd love to have that.
Sarah, it changed my world.
Yeah. So just piggybacking, I do the same thing that obviously Tara, sorry, Jackson's in the bath, but also Sarah does. Like I have the calendar on the fridge. I have the calendar on my phone. But then each week I write a to-do list that I break down by day.
I like it.
Could be OCD, but you never, it is what it is. It keeps me organized.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it is about organizing. It's about creating systems that help you follow through. It isn't about doing it the same as anybody else or doing it perfect. It's about what works for you and being proactive and saying this is a priority. So I'm going to treat it like a priority. I'm going to treat my coaching calls like a priority. I'm going to treat my meal prep. I'm going to treat my workouts, my walks. Maybe you're like, I got all those ducks in the row, but I'm really crappy at taking some personal time for me. Maybe that's what you need to take away from this call. Maybe you've got, the food and the exercise part, but you're not doing so awesome on the self-care. And that needs to become what shows up in your schedule. Oftentimes, like the people who do like find a good groove with the food and the nutrition part, they're go, go, go. And they've got themselves so scheduled to the nines that they're forgetting that other piece. So hopefully everybody can get something out of this where you're like, okay, yeah, like it's time to tune it up. Or maybe you just need to give it a refresh. Maybe it's like me where every quarter I really need to reassess my calendar and say like, am I doing this the way that is working? Or is this like the old thing from 6 months ago and it's not working anymore? But your target this week, guys, is to schedule your workouts, schedule your walks, your meal prep time, and your personal care. Whatever it is that's a priority for you that you are thinking to yourself, I need to create consistency around this. I want you to do this exercise. Look at your calendar. create space, put it in there, think through the buffer, right? You're not going to teleport to your workout. So if it starts at 5, then give yourself a buffer. If you need to leave at 4:30, leave at 4:30. You're not going to teleport home. So make sure that people know that you're going to be there, a half an hour after it's done or whatever it's going to be. Think through the actual logistics of doing it. And then that will also tell you, okay, well, on Tuesday, I need to put my workout stuff in the car. The actual follow through now will happen because it's there, just like anything else that you prioritize. So work on that this week. Reach out to your coach, have a conversation around it. If you need help, remember, that's okay. That's exactly what we're doing. We're working through the obstacles, not around them. We're going to figure them out. And then hopefully this will be a strategy that you can reignite and is helpful to create consistency. Awesome, guys. Let's take a quick pick. If you can, throw your camera on. Okay. Let's do it. My camera is dirty. Tina gets mad at me if I leave it dirty. Okay. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, guys, have a fantastic week. See you soon. Reach out if you need anything. Bye.